Hi, and welcome to the We Hate the Phillies podcast. Sometimes hate the Phillies.
Sometimes hate them, sometimes love them. Today we probably hate them because the Mets beat that ass today. So
I jumped the gun a little bit, Brian. I didn't let you
okay.
do your sometimes piece. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We're all right.
We're back from a very short hiatus. Just a lack of video for a few days. But we've been keeping up with the social media posting as much as we can, and of course, we never stop following the Phillies, as bad as it may be. But this is kind of a special episode. For the first time in our short history, we have a guest today, and his name is Zack Silverman, and he is a analyst for the draft. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the draft in general. He's going to try and educate us a little bit on how all this works and how folks come up through the ranks to get to the point of the draft, what happens after they're drafted, and then talk specifically about some of the Phillies prospects and where he thinks they are. This guy he's a big brain, and he knows so much about all of these folks coming up. He knows them from high school on, and he's super impressive. So I'm looking really forward to that conversation. And maybe we can one day, Brian, become better fans for it.
Maybe, but
and we could start criticizing Phillies when they're still in high school.
See, even better. More to complain about.
Exactly.
Excited to hear what Zack has to say. Just from some of the notes he sent over, it just looks like fantastic stuff from him. So it should be great. It should be a really good listen from him, not us.
No, I'll take the wallpaper position and just let him go. So let's cut over to that interview now, and we'll be back on the other side to talk about some other Philly stuff. Hey, Zack.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's nice to meet you guys. Nice to be on.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We should give you a little say thank you for spending some time on your Sunday with us. And so we're going to ignore the fact that the Phillies are getting their asses pounded by the New York Mets currently. And we're just going to focus on the future a little bit. And, and hopefully we'll come away with the knowledge of the future is going to be brighter for the Philadelphia Phillies.
No, I love it. There's nothing I love more than talking about the draft. You could ask my wife. She hears way more about it than she wants to know or understands.
Yeah, I feel strictly a novice here in just talking to you the short amount of time we've spoken today. But I kind of wanted to open it up by getting you to talk a little bit about your experience, talk about how what you do in terms of research, what you do in terms of compiling the data that you have, and how you're presenting that stuff. So if you wouldn't mind giving us a little bit of background on yourself, that would be great.
Sure. So my name is Zack Silverman. I started following the draft probably in high school. I played high school baseball at James Madison High School in Virginia. Alma mater, Bryce Eldridge. You know him over with the Giants. I was there a little bit before him, but I really got interested in the draft. I remember my junior year, we played against a guy named J.B. Bukauskas, who went on to pitch at UNC, and he was a first-round pick at UNC. But when he was pitching against us, he was throwing 97, 98 against us. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, I was on the bench. I didn't get to face him. But I saw it from the dugout, and I'm like, this is something. There's scouts lined up behind home plate, and I'm like, this is a different world that I haven't really been too involved with. And I started researching. I started with the 2015 draft with, Dansby Swanson and Alex Bregman, and all those guys that year, Kyle Tucker. And I really kind of fell in love with, following these guys really before the majority of people know their names. And when, I'm watching videos of Kyle Tucker when he's, 18 years old playing over at Plant High School in Tampa. And a lot of these guys who, they're Brandon Marsh. He's got the full beard and the long hair. He looks like a grown man because he's a grown man. I'm watching him play in high school. I found it really cool to kind of get on the boat that early, and then going through the minor leagues. I go to a minor league game, and maybe I haven't followed these guys in a couple of years because I focus on the draft, but I know a whole bunch of the names. So I I really enjoy getting in on the ground floor with these guys and seeing how they develop. So my system is pretty simple. I look up lists online to see who to go research, and I'll watch YouTube video. I'll watch videos on Twitter. I'll look up data where it's available. Read scouting reports. I'll go to games when I can. So able to go see Bryce Eldridge play in high school. Saw Johnny Farmello. Saw like Jet Williams in high school. Brenner Cox. A lot of these guys play in high school. I'll go see him play in college. Got to see Peyton Paulette pitch at Arkansas, that was when he was a sophomore, and I didn't know his name. And he's lefty, comes out throwing 96. I'm like, who the heck is this? He's blowing away like a veteran Texas lineup that probably averages like 24 years old.
Right.
I'm like, who the heck is this? Write that name down. And lo and behold, he becomes a top draft prospect, I believe, in the second round. He's working his way up. So I watch a lot of video. I look up data where it's available. It's always hit and miss where you can find data. Some people who work with teams or work with schools have access to a lot more data.
Right.
I'll get as much as I can off of Baseball America or whatever gets posted online. A lot of draft writers that I respect, like Joe Doyle, I think is a really good one. I believe he's a Future Stars series now, and a lot of guys who post data. But yeah, and then I'll watch the videos. I've over the years, there's a ton of players. If you want to know enough to talk about the draft, you probably research over 100 players every year. I try to do over 200 every year. This year is a little less. But yeah, you watch a lot of players, you take a lot of notes. The one thing you'll notice is there's hundreds of players in the draft. If you ask me about a player that's outside of the top couple of rounds, then one thing, I got notes on this guy. Give me a second. I'll have to scroll down, look through the notes. You'll even notice that like on MLB Network. I don't know if you watch, you ever watch like the later rounds of the draft, like they'll announce the name and like John Mayo and is sitting there and it's like, it's taken. Okay, I got notes. there's so many names, but it's fun. It's endless. It's slightly less endless than it used to be. It used to go 40 rounds. Now we're at 20. They're talking about going even less, which is a shame. Right. But it's an endless number of names. And then you're watching the draft and the 18th round pops around and like, wait, I know that guy. Yeah. I played with that guy.
So would you say that it's a pretty open community, that there's a lot of sharing and a lot of talking back and forth and sharing information about certain players and giving other people a heads up that they should be looking at this particular guy?
Yeah, people love to share information. You can DM people, and you DM a lot of analysts. Maybe not MLB scouts. They're going to be a little tighter to the chest, but a lot of these writers they love to share information. It's something that takes so much personal experience to do, that sharing information with other people isn't really going to necessarily affect kind of quote unquote competition where it is. A lot of us do it for free. I do it for free, but people are very open. People have a lot of fun with it. There's a lot of hot takes. People love to post their draft list, and they'll put this guy who's supposed to go in the third round in their top 20 because he has great data, and people love to be edgy and have hot takes about that stuff. And so, and when they have those hot takes, they'll put them out there. So people are very open about what they think about a lot of this stuff. So,
well, it's interesting you brought about people keeping things close to their chest. Last year, my seats for the R-Phils were behind home plate. So sitting the couple rows behind me were all the scouts. And so I'd always try to chat them up before the game. Like, what are you doing? Who are you looking at? They didn't give me anything. They didn't ever tell me anything. They're just like,
they don't want to talk to you.
They're just like, we're looking at everybody. Like, well, that's,
sometimes their hat won't even have a logo on it. Sometimes they got the team on their chest, but sometimes they don't.
And sometimes they don't want to tell you who they're with. So it's interesting. It's good though that the sort of the draft community is a little bit more open about it. But I guess the scouts, that's really sought after information that they're collecting. So I'm sure they're not always willing.
I understand it. There's such competitive balance to be gained with the draft in general. The draft is the most cost effective way to add talent to your organization, bar none. Right? Yeah. It's designed that way. The competitive bargaining agreement is designed it to keep salaries down in the draft. They're going to go down further in the next one, hopefully not, but it's the most cost effective way you can get a star into your organization for $5 million. You know, at the major league level, $5 million buys you like a platoon bat, right?
Right.
So
Well,
it's understandable.
For us and for the audience a little bit, if could you go through the process from the time somebody's drafted? I've always been curious about, how much do they get paid? How much can they get paid? What's the going rate and the trends that are happening now post draft for these folks?
Sure. So it's extraordinarily complicated. I'll try to keep it short. It's very complicated. It changes every year. So the Major League Baseball draft is not like the NBA draft or the NFL draft, where it's hard slotted and, you get drafted first overall. You're probably the best player or the best fit, and you'll get the most money in second and third and fourth. And it's very straightforward with positional need coming into play a little bit there, especially in the NFL. In MLB, you essentially, every pick has a value. And then every pick in the first 10 rounds has a value, I should say. You add all those values together, and that's your bonus pool, and you can do whatever you want with it.
Right.
So you can go and give a guy $2 million in the first round, even though his slot value is like 5. That's what the Red Sox did with Jake Schaffner at 20th overall.
Right.
And then you can spend that money in the 9th round and give that guy $4 million. So you'll see a lot of these guys, you'll see like these high schoolers go, especially high schoolers, fall down because the bonus demands play such a big factor. So you'll hear terms like underslotting and overslotting. The Phillies, I'm looking at what they did. They haven't announced many of their signing bonuses. I don't know that they did too much of that, but some teams will go really extreme with it. For example, the Braves gave the same amount of money to their 9th overall pick as they did to their 84th overall pick.
And what's the logic there?
The logic there is that so the Braves third round pick at 84th overall is a guy named Jensen Hirschhorn. He's a high school pitcher in California. Nobody in this draft cycle thinks Jensen Hirschhorn is the 84th best player on the board. He's a near consensus top 50 talent, top 60 talent. Obviously the Braves are even higher, but basically Jensen has a number. He wants $4 million. Lots of teams say, I can't meet that. So he starts to slip. The Braves call and say, we can give you $4 million. If someone calls you and offers you 3.5, say no. We got you we're going to get you in the 3rd round. You say no if anybody calls you and offers you 3.5. So when you draft a player, you already know roughly what you're going to pay them. Okay. So the scouts are picking up the phones, and the scouts, the general manager, the team is picking up the phones and calling these guys, what's your number? And it's going constantly throughout the draft. And the Braves came around. It's what's called they floated him down. They said they dangled $4 million for him and said, don't sign with anybody else. Tons of teams would have loved to have Jensen Hirschhorn in the 2nd round, maybe even the late 1st. But the Braves said, we got $4 million waiting for you in the 3rd. So he went down. And they did that by their 1st round pick, AJ Gracia, outfielder out of UVA. They also signed him for $4 million when his slot value was closer to $7 million. So they used the savings on that pick to then give it to Hirschhorn in the 3rd. Right. So it's very complicated.
It sounds like it, because in comparison, the NBA draft is really straightforward. Right. And plus you draft somebody in the NFL or the NBA and they're playing the next season, you know, so.
Oh yeah. There's no wait. There's no league. I mean, the NBA has their summer league where they kind of evaluate their draft talent and let them play throughout the summer.
Right.
But yeah, football, if you're a top pick, there's a guarantee that you're going to play that year. Like there's no wait. So.
Right. Well, that's one thing I always try to impress upon people is, baseball's hard. It takes a lot of time to become good enough to play at the major league level. And hockey's kind of the same way. These folks are, in the minor leagues for a while, most of them. And, you really have to work up to it. It's not just an overnight thing. There's a big difference between playing at high school or college and playing in the pros. And I don't think a lot of casual baseball fans or sports fans in general realize that. So this is all very interesting. Thank you for that. Can we talk about the Phillies draft picks?
Of course.
Do you want to start at the top?
Let's start at the top. Okay. So the first round, the Phillies had their first pick pushed back 10 slots, I think, due to the competitive balance overages
Right.
So they didn't get to pick till 36, but they picked a high school shortstop named Tyler Spangler out of De La Salle High School. It's out in the Bay Area in California, and he's a really interesting guy. He honestly could have gone in the top. Coming into the season, he was looked at as a top 20 pick, and he unfortunately got hurt. He had back problems throughout his spring senior season, so he didn't play. But there's no questioning the talent there. If he had played, and even if he had come back healthy, maybe a couple weeks into the season, or a couple weeks to go in the season, he probably would have gone 10 plus, 15 plus picks higher, because he is probably, watching him play. If you watched him play in the summer showcase circuit last year, he was, you could argue, one of the best all-around players on the entire circuit. He hits, he's got some pop, he plays defense, and this is a little more rare for a high school player, he really has a good head on his shoulders when it comes to like his baseball IQ. He's a very heady player. He takes really good at bats. It's the same is true in the field. It's a guy who really, if scouts are looking for holes in his game, it's really hard to find them, and it's really hard to tell your scouting director or your GM why you shouldn't pick him. This is a kid who goes up, he takes really good at bats. He performed really well in the showcase circuit. It's a ton of contact. He's not trying to do too much at the plate. He's spraying the ball around the field. The power is probably average. He's not going to be a 30 homer guy, most likely. Although, again, with these high schoolers, they can really develop in any kind of direction. But most likely, he's not a 30 homer guy. He's probably a 15 to 20 homer guy, but one who will get on base, who will, we want to say someone's slump proof, especially when they're 18, but he's probably be more slump proof than other guys. He'll be a steady performer. He'll be getting on base. He could possibly stick at shortstop, which is huge. When you look at when you're drafting these kids, the ability to stick a shortstop it's a big plus, and it can get guys with much lighter bats drafted much higher.
So what you're saying is he could replace Trey Turner on like Thursday, right?
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, he's 18 years old.
And your point?
Yeah, please.
I mean, have you watched Trey Field lately? It's disastrous.
Sure. And I mean, if any high schooler is ready to go soon, Spangler, back injury aside, needing to ramp back up.
Right.
Spangler is a guy who, if you took all the high schoolers in the country and you threw each of them and gave each of them a game in the major leagues, Spangler would be probably one of the guys who looked like he belonged. Oh. He's that advanced as a player.
So when a GM makes a decision to bring somebody in, what in their mind do you think is the time frame that they're looking at? So they, is that just an individual thing? You say like, this guy can be ready in X amount of years. I predict that this guy can be ready in X amount of months, or, how do they, when they make that decision of who to pick, is that a factor?
It's very individual to every player. High school guys who can fly through the minor leagues. You saw Connor Griffin. There are college guys who might take a few years. It's very individual, but at this, there's a something people talk about with the draft is that you don't draft for need, right? You don't see a hole, and you don't see Trey Turner struggling at shortstop and say, oh, let's get in a shortstop to spell him pretty quickly.
Right.
Draft, there's such variation with the draft that these guys, you can set a timeline for a guy. Spangler, the timeline might be 3-ish years because he's a pretty advanced high schooler. Excuse me. I don't know if you guys have been getting the wildfires.
Yeah.
They're everywhere here.
Yeah.
For sure.
But you're probably thinking 3-ish years on a guy like Spangler. Of course, and you have to emphasize this a lot, they're 18. Anything could happen. Griffin probably had a 3-year timeline, and then he exploded, right? Tyler Spangler's not quite Connor Griffin.
Right.
Even in high school, Connor Griffin was a freak, but anything can really happen with these guys. You could get hurt again, unfortunately, especially with pitchers. It can be an issue. But Spangler should move pretty quickly. He'll probably move about a level a year, maybe. There'll probably be a year where he skips 2 levels just because he's so advanced. And it also depends on the position. Like, the Phillies aren't looking at, we need a shortstop, here's Spangler. It's more, we should get as many shortstops into the system as possible, because if someone has to move off, you move to second base, you move to third base. And it's easy. If someone's already a first baseman, they're not moving up. Someone who's a first baseman in high school, unless it's like an edge case, is not moving to shortstop in pro ball.
Right.
You can move down. And Spangler, he may not stick a shortstop. He's not the most explosive defender at shortstop. He's very steady. He's not going to make boneheaded errors that you guys can pile on. but he's very steady. He's very he knows what he's doing. He has high baseball IQ. So he might be a third baseman, he might be a second baseman if you have like a very explosive defender at shortstop when he gets there.
Right.
But he can play a lot of positions, and he's a good athlete. He knows what he's doing out there. It's the kind of guy that can really, like, especially if he works out, you can build kind of a team around him, and that he will be like a net positive, on the clubhouse, on the field, just directing guys around the field. It's a kind of a rare quality for a high school player.
Yeah, and we were only half kidding about him replacing Trey this week. We'll wait until next week. Yeah, it should be fine.
I mean, if he could just be ready by the playoffs, that'd be great.
Crazier things have happened. It won't happen here. But
remember Orion Kirkering?
Yeah,
a few years ago, went from low A to the majors in one season.
Yeah,
that was crazy. Okay, cool. Who's next, Zach?
Caden Bogenpole is probably the most interesting player in this draft. Spangler's great. There's also something called boring good. Spangler's a guy who does everything really well. He doesn't stand out in one area, except maybe in like the baseball IQ. Bogenpole is not a steady Eddie across the thing. Bogenpole has what's called outlier traits. And outlier, especially as you get later in the draft, you look for what are called outlier traits. Bogenpole probably has the most power in the entire draft. He hits the ball harder than anybody in the draft. He could probably go toe-to-toe with Schwarber and Harper right now, who can launch a ball the farthest. He took batting practice at the MLB Draft Combine in June, and he registered the highest exit velocities of the entire event. The ball, he was averaging, I can't remember, he was probably averaging 105, but he was reaching 114, 115, 116. He was coming up to like 119. The scouts who were there were literally oohing and ahhing as he was taking batting practice. The ball is exploding off of his bat. Now, here's the caveat. This guy played at Missouri State, which is mid-major. Ryan Howard played there. It's a mid-major school. They're not playing the most difficult competition, and he hit 6 home runs in I don't remember, it was probably 50, 60 games. So where is the disconnect here? If this guy hits the ball harder, he's 6'6", 245. That's what he's listed at. You got
that's a big boy.
He's 6'6", 245, and he hits the ball harder than pretty much anybody. So where's the disconnect? The approach is a little bit raw. He takes a lot of pitches, but sometimes he can take too many. He can get into deeper counts when he doesn't necessarily need to be, and then you get to 2 strikes, you got to shorten up. His quality of contact was not always great. He can get on top of balls, roll over them. If you hit the ball 118 miles an hour, but you hit it 118 miles an hour into the ground, it's probably a 6'3".
Right.
But that's another thing you look for, right? You're not looking for the best player right now in the draft. You're looking for, and I say that Taylor Spangler is like the best high schooler, one of the best high schoolers right now, but you also believe in Spangler's ability to develop. Bogenpole, you're not looking for the best player right now. You're looking at something you can exploit, something you can get into with your hitting coaches and your pro development pipeline, and turn that into something. If you can adjust Bogenpole's approach a little bit, adjust what he's looking to do with the ball, adjust his attack angles on the ball, get him hitting the ball in the air more, this is a guy who could go from 6 homers to 40 homers like that.
Right.
So Bogenpole, they're swinging this. He's going to be high risk, especially jumping from mid-major to he's jumping from Missouri State. He's not coming from the SEC, which guys do it all the time, but it's one extra step.
Right.
And if he does, I mean, he's a patient hitter. There's a lot of these guys who get out and they're just swinging at everything, and you got to reel that back. And he's already a patient hitter waiting for his pitch. You can get that. You can get that bat to ball. You get him making enough contact. He doesn't have to square it up. Honestly, he can get off the end of the bat and he can hit it out. Like it's unreal the amount of power this guy has.
Right.
He might take. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say. So we talk about potential for players, and we're backing up a little bit here. When you're the general manager of a pro team, how much are you leaning on the coaching staff of the current team and saying, hey, can you look at this guy, or have you looked at this guy, and what do you think you can do with him? Is that kind of an approach that they use?
If you're doing it right, yes.
Okay.
And the Phillies do a good job. But if you are doing it right, you are leaning heavily on your area scouts, your guys, your let's say for a guy like Bogenspoel, your Midwest area scouts who are going to see games in Missouri, and they're watching him. They've watched him play since he was a freshman or a sophomore. You're leaning heavily on these guys to tell you what this guy does well, tell you what's exploitable in a good way with his skill set. And you're also leaning on the conversation to occur between your scouts and your minor league, coaching staff. Because if your scout sees something in a guy and says, I see if we can change this guy's attack angles, we can make him a superstar. And then your minor league coaches don't see that or don't know that that's why you drafted him, and they do something different with him. It's like, oh, we see this guy's a line drive hitter, right? You lose that edge. So it's very important that your area scouts are taught and your leadership are talking to your minor league coaches and getting one unified vision. The reason you drafted him is the way you're going to develop him. And when there's a disconnect, that can be disastrous for teams. Now in the first round, the leadership, the GM will go out and see a lot of these first round guys. Like GM's going to go out and see Tyler Spangler, right? Your cross checkers your scouting director is going to go see your top couple of rounds. But especially as you get later in the draft, you're in the 14th round, your GM might not even know his name. You're leaning on the area scout that you trust, saying this guy has something about him that we can exploit. And there's a reason he's here in the 14th round, but he's going to play like a third rounder because we're going to get this to our coaching staff.
Right.
Who's going to then bring that out of him if you're communicating right.
Right. Interesting. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry I interrupted, but I wanted to get that out there.
Oh, it's okay. It's your show.
Okay, who's next?
Let's go. All right. So next up is Ruger Riojas. He's a pitcher out of Texas. First of all, Ruger Riojas, I think, is my favorite name in the whole draft.
It's a good one.
Elite baseball name.
Right.
So he pitched 2 years at UT San Antonio, transferred to Texas, as we all do now. We all transfer now. And you'll notice that's going to be a theme. He was a pretty highly touted transfer coming into Texas in 2025. He had a battle with some kind of illness. I can't remember exactly which one it was. Oh, I think it was a flu. And he lost a whole bunch of weight. His stuff kind of diminished, and he didn't get drafted where he went, and he went back to school. Came back as a senior this year, so he's a senior sign, and he gained all that weight back, and he looked better than ever.
Okay.
So he's older. He's actually 23 by now, which is, we're talking about the draft. That's old. Spangler was 18, right? There were 17-year-olds drafted.
Right.
But he's another guy who's very, as you would hope for someone who just turned 23, the day after the draft, as you would hope for someone that, that advances. He's very advanced on the mound. He dominated, a pretty good non-conference schedule. He was really, really sharp earlier in the season. He comes in to face these SEC lineups. He gets hit around a little bit. He was probably looking like a top 60 pick.
Right.
At the beginning of the season. He hits the SEC schedule and he struggles just a little bit. But honestly, if you watch a lot of college baseball now, you'll see the average score is going to be like 11-8. They're all playing in Coors Field with juice bats, basically. So honestly, the guys who didn't struggle during the season went in the first round. Like it's kind of ridiculous. And it's kind of ridiculous how offense heavy college has gotten. So he's in the SEC. It's the toughest competition in college baseball. He gets hit around a little bit in the SEC, and his stock probably corrects a little bit to where it should have been, but you guys get him at 100, the third round pick, number 100. And that's probably where he belongs. It's a really complete package on the mound. This guy has a lot of swagger on the mound, as you'd expect from a guy named Ruger Riojas. He's got the flow. He's got the mustache. He's confident walking around the mound. He's upbeat on the mound. So he's not gonna have any issue going into pro ball. And he's not gonna feel like imposter syndrome or anything. This guy knows who he is, and he shows it on the mound. And he's a really fun guy to watch pitch. Fastball's mid 90s. It's hit 99 in the past, which is pretty good. It's mostly mid 90s. There's some hop on it. There's some life on it to jump past barrels. He's got a full arsenal. He's got a slider and a curveball. Neither of those are like the plus pitch, which plus probably translating to like great pitch that you look for like in the top 2 rounds. But he has great feel for them. He can spot them to both sides of the plate. That's, being able to locate your breaking balls is a big differentiator, and he can do that. He can tighten it up into a cutter, which it's probably his best breaking ball. If you consider a breaking ball, it's like halfway between a fastball and a slider. And then he's got a really good changeup that, rounds it out really nicely. Really gives it so he can attack both hitters on both sides of the plate. He's a starter through and through. He's not huge. He's like 6 feet tall, which as far as pitchers goes, not huge. And he's kind of a skinny guy, but he's got a really deep arsenal. He commands it. He can work in his curveball slider. He trusts all of his pitches. And that with, the command, it's probably above average command, and the moxie that he has on the mound. He'll get up, he'll kind of shimmy in his delivery, be a little bit of a Nestor Cortez.
Right.
He's really balanced on the mound, really fluid. He's not expending crazy amounts of energy. Like you see some of these, smaller guys, and they have to really reach back to throw 100. He's not expending a ton of energy. So he'll pitch deep into games. He'll probably move quickly. And honestly, I think, when he gets to the majors, I think Phillies fans are going to love him.
Yeah.
He
sounds like our type. Right?
He does. The attitude and everything. Is there any one of those pitches that he relies on more heavily than the others? You said the changeup was really good, the breaking. Does he like to tend to rely on them a little more, where it could maybe get him into some trouble?
It's balanced. Well, he likes his changeup, right? It's probably his best off-speed pitch. He likes his changeup a lot. He likes his cutter, but it's a deep enough arsenal. It's a 5-pitch arsenal. That he has enough feel for his breaking balls. They're not the wipeout pitches that you would like to see, but they're good breaking balls. And when you can spot those to both sides of the plate, he trusts everything he throws. If his changeup isn't working, he has no problem trying to backdoor his slider.
Okay.
And it's a really, again, this guy's 23. He's been around the block. He's pitched at UTSA, pitched at Texas. He's been around. He knows how to pitch, and he's not going to fall in love with one pitch and then get in trouble.
Sounds like he's had enough experience to maybe not completely freak out when he wakes up.
Yeah, and he's fun. He's fun on the mound.
Yeah,
like he's got.
I'll have to check out some highlights.
Yeah, definitely. Well, cool. Thank you. Who's next?
Yeah, so we could do this forever.
Well, we'll just do the 4 or 5 here.
So we got the next.
We don't want to run into Monday with the Senate.
Yeah. And I'll probably have fewer and fewer things to get down. There's a couple more guys who I think are. I got 3 more guys who I think are, the next 3 picks I think are really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's when after that you get into some of the ones that are farther out. But I can go a little quicker now. Next guy we got Devin Sheeran. He's a local kid. He's actually from Reading.
Okay.
He went to Exeter Township High School in Reading, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he started off at Mount St. Mary's in Maryland, right over the border. Transferred to LSU. They saw something they liked. And he tore his ACL as a sophomore, so he didn't pitch. But this year he's back, and this is where you get, again, outlier trait. You have Spangler, who's very balanced, Bogomol, who's power, and figure everything else out. Riojas, very balanced. Sheeran has a fastball, and it's a really good fastball. It's mid to upper 90s. He's hit triple digits, but it's not just that. It's a flat approach fastball. It rides on hitters. It's the kind of fastball that you can throw down the middle and get by big league bats. It's really a lively fastball. It tore through SEC hitters. You'll see like chase numbers and swing and miss numbers on his fastball that you usually see on really good sliders and changeups. Right. He got those numbers on his fastball, which for a guy who leans heavily on his fastball is really impressive.
And these are 4-seam mostly?
Yeah, it's mostly 4-seam. But he's got a slider. It plays well off his fastball when he can locate it. Mm-hmm. It's mid 80s, and it's a good pitch. It's not a great pitch. His fastball is the showstopper. He's got a curveball that he can flip in, but he's mostly a fastball slider guy, and at that he's kind of a fastball guy. So the Phillies are going to see that fastball and say, we'll figure everything else out. We can work with him on that fastball, get him throwing it in the right quadrants of the zone, sharpen his command of it a little bit. And he's probably a reliever because of that. But if they can take a step forward with his slider, then it becomes, then he becomes a fastball slider reliever, and he's deadly at the back of the bullpen. Mm-hmm. Again, we're moving into the, the 4th round. Guys get a little, you're more grasping at that 1 or 2 things. So that's what you have with Sheeran. But it's cool. The Phillies actually more so than other teams like to grab guys out of their backyard. Mm-hmm. So it's cool to see a kid from Reading coming in.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, probably a reliever, but he's also young. He won't turn. He's still 20 years old, which is young for a college player. So there's some upside there. And do you want me to jump to the next two? Then I can.
Sure. Let's do one more, and then we're gonna ask you about a dark horse.
Okay. So I'll do, if we're gonna do two, I'll skip over Jackson Jelkin. Jelkin's a very interesting name on his own right. He's also 23. He's been to like 4 different schools. But he's honestly one of the better pitchers in this class. I'll skip to Will Gasparino in the 5th round. He is he came out of Harvard Westlake High School in California. It's the same one that it's in like Hollywood. It's a famous school in Hollywood Hills. It gives like Pico Armstrong, Lucas Giolito, Max Fried, Jack Flaherty. Will Gasparino was the next big name out of there. And when he was in high school, he was a stud, 6'6", huge power, huge speed, like wide receiver type of athleticism with power. And he was pretty raw. So the teams let him get to Texas, where he played for 2 years, struck out almost 30% of the time, hit for power, but he's striking out a lot. Transferred back home to UCLA, and things came together for him this year. I think if I'm checking my notes, he had, if I have the right number, he had like 11 homers in his first like 13 games or something like that this year. He came back to UCLA, came back home, and he straightened up his stance. And at Texas, he was trying to hit the ball 450 feet because he could. Right. He came to UCLA, and he's like, well, 400 feet is also a home run. So I'll try to hit it 400, not 450. And that kind of correcting of his approach really, really helped. And he's now a guy who is a little more balanced at the plate. He cooled off a little bit in Big Ten play. So he ended up hitting, I don't have the number here, but the 11 homer barrage was kind of the big story at the beginning of the season. It's still above average power. He's probably a 25 homer plus guy. If he can make enough contact, could threaten for 30 homers if he makes enough contact. Great athlete, is a above average runner, shot to stick in center field. The kind of guy that does just really loud things on the baseball field. He cut his strikeout rate at UCLA, but it's down a little bit. It's down a little bit, but it probably needs to go more. He's striking out still a lot. He chases a ton. He's chasing out of the zone too much. It's less than it was, but it's still a lot. So the Phillies are going to work with him to kind of even that out. They're going to probably even take his approach changes a step further, get him a little more balanced at the plate, get him especially taking more pitches and not getting himself out, because the talent here, he actually was projected to go probably in the 3rd round, the second or 3rd round. Seeing him in the 5th round is a huge win for the Phillies. It's a really talented guy who there are things he needs to work on, but they're very clear. He needs to swing less. He needs to chase less. And if he can, he's a 20-20 type of guy.
Right.
So that's Will Gasparino.
Cool. And so if we were to move a little bit away from the Phillies and talk about the draft in a more general sense, who would you identify as the best sort of dark horse pick that happened? Like somebody you went, that's awesome. That's so great that he went at this spot. He's flying under the radar, and somebody really smart, decided to pick up this guy.
So you want to go to like any team or
any team. Yeah, any team.
Well, I'll stick in the NL East. I think the Braves, the Braves picked up a player named Carter Beck in the back of the 1st round. He was not projected as a 1st round pick. If you check, most places had him in the 60s, 70s as in terms of his ranking. MLB Pipeline, which I think they missed on this, they had him almost at 200. They barely had him in the top 200, and he went to the Braves, I believe, at 28-ish. Right. He is every bit good enough to go 28. This is a kid he played at Indiana State. Again, didn't face a very strong competition. So he's not in the SEC going up against arms at Ole Miss and Texas and LSU and Arkansas and South Carolina every weekend. He's at Indiana State facing Bradley, right? So some teams maybe didn't trust his numbers so much because, there's lots of guys who go out and they go and rake at a mid-major school, but the underlying data on this kid, Carter Beck, is fantastic. He barely struck out this year. It was like 11% strikeout rate, which is excellent. Even against mid-major competition, 11% excellent. He barely struck out, doesn't really chase too much, hit for more power than you'd think. It's a lot of line drives, but the ball really, really jumps off his bat. He's a plus runner. I think he was a hockey player up. He grew up in like a small town in Saskatchewan. I think he was a hockey player up there. Really good athlete. This guy does a lot of things really, really well on the field. And I think really teams were probably just worried about the level of competition, but the Braves weren't. And I think it's probably going to work out for them. They surprised a lot of people taking him at 28. And I think that's where he kind of belongs, especially the Braves are pretty good at developing talent, developing athletic outfielders. So,
right. Was this someone that was on your radar before the draft?
Yes. I didn't have him ranked quite that high, but I saw what was going on there. And I also see that the Braves they took a discount on his signing bonus. So they're able to use his savings. Part of his savings also went to signing Jensen Hirschhorn for $4 million in the third round. But getting him at a discount, using him to save some money, and getting a guy who, again, besides the competition, it's really hard to find anything he does wrong. He's really good at a lot of things. So he's the kind of guy that could surprise a lot of people at the back of the first round. Personally, my favorite first round pick was Ryder Helfrich. He's more on the radar. I mean, he was projected to go possibly top 10. Diamondbacks got him at 15. I love Ryder Helfrich to the Diamondbacks. Huge power for a catcher. He performed really well in the SEC. He kept his strikeouts down to a reasonable amount in the SEC. It's a really explosive right-handed swing, and to boot, he's a fantastic defensive catcher. So I actually, as a Nationals fan, he was the one I wanted to pick number 11.
Right.
I love Chris Accopia, and I'm happy to have him at 11 too. But Ryder Helfrich was a guy name I had my eye on. He went to the Diamondbacks at 15. I think they have a winner.
Cool. Well, you brought it up, so let's talk about the Nationals a little bit. We'll give you an opportunity to talk about the Nationals because from my perspective, they're doing really great, compared to where they've been. And what do you attribute to their recent success to?
So I think the new regime in charge of the Nationals, I think, has a very different mindset than the Rizzo regime. And I think it's in a very positive way. The Rizzo regime, I will be forever grateful. As you know, I'm a Nationals fan. I'll be forever grateful for the 2010s, especially the 2019 World Series team. But I think Mike Rizzo was a 2010s GM, and the game is very different in the 2020s. And he was still kind of running the team, kind of on that older style. So this new team is much more data heavy. This new regime is much more data heavy. They're looking for outlier traits to exploit. They're looking for guys who they can optimize, who might throw. They might see a guy leaning on a two-seam fastball, and they realize at your arm angle and at the approach angles you create with your release, you need to be throwing a four-seam fastball, and you're throwing it low, you need to be throwing it high. Those kinds of things that aren't so straightforward.
Right.
Rather than taking the simple, this is the guy, he dominated the SEC, he's the best player available, we'll take him next in line. So I think, and of course that's an exaggeration, I don't think the Rizzo regime was that simple about it, but
right.
The new regime is doing a lot better at, I think, finding those guys. They're doing much better at hitting development. We're getting guys getting the ball in the air, hitting it hard, focusing on the data, giving guys the resources. I talked to guys around the league who talked about the Nationals, and they were just kind of surprised. They're shocked at the level of kind of how behind the Nationals were technologically, the resources they gave their players, the things they gave their players access to. It wasn't there. So this new regime is doing really well, especially with the hitters. You've seen guys like Seaver King turn it around. You've seen guys like Maxwell Romero. You've seen Yohandy Morales. We're still waiting on Dylan Cruz. But it's even Kevin Bazell has turned it around. I think this team, especially with the hitters, is doing really, really well. Pitchers, hopefully it'll come. You've got a couple of guys who are doing well, a couple of pitchers who are doing well, but I think it's the hitters are, where they're really shining.
Do you expect that when the Phillies start to age out, do you see the Nationals as sort of the heir apparent for this division? You can't count on the Mets.
No,
and I'm not sure that the Braves have a lot of long-term solutions. So
I'll never count the Braves out.
Right. No, I'm not saying that, but I think they seem to be built for right now.
They are. I also think the Braves do a good job. I think they develop well. They've got, I don't know, there's this kid Eric Hartman who is not the South Park character. He's a different guy.
I was going to say, just like Hartman or
Eric Hartman with an H.
Okay.
He was a late round pick. He's tearing it up down at Rome in
Right.
high A for the Braves. They consistently find these guys. I think they drafted really well this year. I will never count out the Braves, but the early returns on what the Nationals are doing, I think I'm very happy with. The major league team is treading water, which is better than you could say.
Well, with the exception of the bullpen in Washington, they seem pretty solid.
Yeah, the bullpen's not doing it for us.
Yeah, I mean, I can't exactly brag about the Phillies bullpen at this point either, with the one exception and at the back end. But it's interesting though. I mean, I know they're a division rival and that sort of thing, but I've always had kind of a sweet spot for them. They've had a lot of players that I like. I grew up in outside of Detroit. So I was a Tigers fan as Verlander and Scherzer were coming up. So I was really excited when Scherzer did so well in Washington. So I've always kind of had a soft spot for them. Don't tell Brian when he comes back if he comes back.
Now you have all our old players, so we're connected. You got Harper, you got Turner, you got Schwarber. If you remember, he was briefly a National,
right?
For Aldo Ramirez, and even Jesus Luzardo, I think, was originally drafted by the Nationals.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So you guys have a lot of our players.
Sorry. So, Brian, I told Zach, and
we're not going to apologize.
What's that? Are you there, Brian?
I didn't say anything.
Okay. What I talked to Zach about, I can, but you seem really delayed. And you kind of look like Max Headroom. Zach, I don't expect you to get that reference.
Not sure why. Nothing's changed.
Okay. So I talked to Zach earlier today about outrageous predictions because, Brian, you're pretty well known for your really outrageous predictions for baseball. So I gave Zach an opportunity to come up with one. So let's put him on the spot here and see what kind of outrageous prediction you have for this season at the major league level.
Oh, this season. I have draft related outrageous predictions.
Oh, okay. Let's do that then.
Okay, my draft. I'll give you one Nationals one and one Philly, one general one for which is for the Nationals for me, and one Phillies one. My Nationals one is I think the best player in the Nationals draft is going to be their third rounder. It's not going to be the first round. It's not going to be the second rounder. It's going to be a third rounder, a kid named Luke Williams, at a high school in Pittsburgh. Just the way that kid performed on the field. Now Pittsburgh isn't the strongest baseball, hotbed for talent, but Williams went out there and he looked like he was playing 3 levels up from the rest of the competition. He's probably the fastest kid in the Pittsburgh area, and he was stretching singles into triples, doubles into inside the Parkers. Really explosive kid, all over the field. Elite, great defender, great runner, good hitter. He shows more power than you expect for a smaller kid. I think the best player in the Nationals draft, I think, is going to be a third round kid out of a small high school in Pittsburgh named Luke Williams. For the Phillies, I can give you an outrageous prediction. I think he might not be the best player in the draft, but I think one of the best players, especially one of the best pitchers in the Phillies draft, is actually going to be their very last pick. All the way at the end at pick number 609, a kid named Justin Lee out of UCLA. I think he has a chance to outplay 15 to 19 of the guys ahead of him. Mm-hmm. 19 might be a little really outrageous because I don't think I don't think Lee will be the best, but I think their 20th round pick might be one of the best pitchers out of this whole class for the Phillies. He's a stud prospect out of Los Angeles as a high schooler. Went to UCLA, command never materialized. He was walking 15-16% of the guys he faced. He dropped that to 13% as a junior, still too high. But he throws what's the mythical 100 spin efficiency fastball. What that means is that, and spin rates have gone up and down in terms of where they land in terms of evaluating guys. But his fastball, basically, if you look at the tilt on the pitch, it's perfectly 12 o'clock. And he's not getting any side spin. He's not losing his spin. It's all or like it's fastball, so it's coming this way. It's all going in the right direction, all putting, movement, air effects, everything on his fastball. And it creates a lot of ride on his fastball. He's got a really sharp slider, decent changeup. I think he's a kid who it didn't come together for him at UCLA, but I think the Phillies, getting him in with a pro team, the Phillies, it can be creative with him, and he might not start. The command's not really there. He doesn't always finish his delivery, quite like you'd like him to, but he's a 6'3" kid with some really unique stuff, and I think the Phillies could turn him into a real weapon in the bullpen if they could get his command to be okay, and get to take a step forward. So the 20th round pick, I think, is out of pretty much everybody outside the top couple of rounds. I think their 20th round pick, Justin Lee, is my outrageous pick. That's the one you got to look out for. All
right. That's good. I'm going to put you on the spot one more time before we let you go. Okay. We're coming up on the trade deadline. Who can the Phillies move from the minor league system to maybe bring us some big talent, or a right-handed bat, some more relief, something like that? Who do you see as potentially on the block for the Phillies? I
think that's a good question. I think so they've had some guys take steps forward this year. I mean, so you got at the top, you got Miller and Wood, who are they're studs.
Right.
You wouldn't move them unless you're really getting a real impact game-changing piece back. Down a little bit lower, there's a pitcher named Ramon Marquez, who he started the year out in Clearwater. He worked his way up to Jersey Shore, and he has been untouchable down there.
Okay.
He doesn't throw terribly hard, but he's got good breaking balls. He hides the ball really well. Fantastic changeup. I think teams could come looking for a guy like that who's taking a big step forward. I would look at him. I would look at looking down this list, looking at another guy like Cody Bowker, who has he hasn't necessarily exceeded expectations, but he has probably met them pitching again at Clearwater, and I believe he's up at Jersey Shore now. I think you guys are pretty deep on the mound, so I think a couple of those guys could look like the way to go. At the top of your farm system is more hitter heavy, but you got a lot of pitching depth down there, especially bringing in a couple of guys like Riojas and Sheeran and Jackson Jelkin, who we didn't get a chance to talk about, but he's a very good arm, who will move quickly. The Phillies have a lot to look at down there.
Considering his year this year, where do you place Andrew Painter's value at this point?
That's a tough one. Especially pitchers are always so funky. I think, he's so young. How old is Andrew Painter? He's 23?
Yeah, I think he's 23.
Yeah, I think he's early 20s.
Like, you look at I think he's about 23. Ruger Riojas is 23, and he just got drafted. He hasn't thrown a minor league pitch. So Painter was so far ahead of the curve. You could look at another guy. I could draw actually a very strong parallel to a guy like Lucas Giolito. Giolito was a superstar prospect out of Harvard Westlake, same school that's giving you Will Gasparino.
Right.
He hit the ground running in the minors, and he was immediately tagged as one of the top pitching prospects in baseball. The Nationals rushed him to the majors. I think he got shelled and then hurt, if I remember correctly. And then all of a sudden, it is like, what do we make of this kid? And he ended up, Lucas Giolito never became an ace, but he carved out a really nice, 10+ year career for himself on the mound.
Right.
He ended up getting traded, but talking about the player, Giolito came back from it, and he really established himself basically in the middle round. And these days, having a starting pitcher who can give you 100, even 150 innings these days, it's weird to say, that's very valuable. Painter is probably in a similar spot to where Giolito was when he was first coming back. So is he an ace? At this point, probably not.
Right.
But is the door closed on a 23-year-old? Now I'm saying this, sometimes I got to double check his exact age. I gotta know. Andrew Painter is 23. Yes. Is he an ace? Probably not. Is he a potential long-term rotation piece? Probably. I don't think the book is out on him at all. There's 23-year-olds who haven't thrown a minor league pitch yet who are talking about excitedly. So.
Right. Well, to give you some perspective for us is that we've been waiting.
Yeah.
And so we finally got the opportunity, and I think our expectations were probably pretty high.
They were
and
inflated.
and a little
Absolutely.
exaggerated. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're kind of heartbroken with the way this goes. I mean, we weren't expecting, him to come in and be the next Christopher Sanchez or something. We wanted a solid 5, from this guy, and we didn't get it. And because he'd been talked up for so long, and it was like this unknown entity in the system until he got up. And then what was it, 2 years ago, Brian, he came in and
Yep.
pitched one game in spring training, and then he was done for a year.
Yep.
And so I think there's been kind of setback after setback and disappointment, for us. So I kind of wanted to get your perspective, because our emotions are too tied into this.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, I mean, there was so much hype around the guy, and then we finally get him, and it's like, yes, we have that missing piece to this rotation that will really put us ahead this year. And it didn't pan out, and you feel bad for the kid, but on the other hand, it's like,
yeah, I mean, we're built
where do you go
to
from
win.
here?
We're built to win now.
Right.
And,
we're not let's drag this out a bit and we'll get there when we get there. This was the year, like, we need to get there this year and make some noise, and it just didn't pan out for him.
Yeah.
Brian and I were completely pissed off every time Taijuan Walker would come up to pitch last year, and we're going,
"Where's Taijuan?
Where's Painter? We need Painter." And he said, well, he'd be ready in July last year. And now it's August, and now that we get to September, we're like, okay, we're not going to see this guy, right? And then meanwhile, Taijuan Walker's just shitting the bed all over the place out there, and now we want him back. We want Taijuan back.
Look, if someone's going to give up 5 runs consistently, I want it to be Taijuan. I mean, he's our guy. We knew what we were getting out of him. We knew what we were getting. If he could just get through the first couple innings, buy some time, we knew what we were getting. I'm okay with that.
He was like, first inning was his biggest problem for a long time.
Right.
He'd come out and give up 4 runs in the first inning, and then settle down and be great for another 5.
Right.
Yeah. But the way our offense can go away at sometimes and just disappear, it doesn't help to be down 5.
No. And actually, Nola found that out the other night against the Mets, because he really did pitch well. That was probably one of his best games of late. This game against the Mets, and the offense let him down horribly.
You got to wonder sometimes why the offense doesn't produce for certain guys. It's just a coincidence.
It's a fun question to think about.
Seriously. I don't like him. No.
Yeah.
Right.
These hitters, we know who's on the mound. Like,
he ate the last cheesesteak yesterday.
Saving this for the guy I like.
You know what? His attitude today, that has loss written all over it. We're just not going to bat.
Yeah, we're taking a couple of at-bats off today. So thanks, Zach. And we really appreciate the time that you're giving us, and the expertise that you bring is bringing some legitimacy to our podcast, honestly. So we really appreciate that. And I guess before you go, I'd just like to say we hope to have you back. We hope that, maybe when we get to closer to the playoffs, both at collegiate levels and pro, that we could bend your ear a little bit more about that. It would be really great.
Sure. Yeah. I love talking baseball.
And
unfortunately,
before you go,
it's passed.
No, I had a question. I've been wondering what's the furthest place that you've traveled to look at somebody, or just keep track, or just a game you wanted to see, a college player, high school?
Sure. I remember when I was, I used to live in Texas. I lived outside of Dallas, and I wanted to go to a game at Texas Tech. And Texas Tech is 5. If you've ever driven from Dallas to Texas Tech, you'll know there's absolutely nothing between you. You think rural Pennsylvania has nothing. It makes rural Pennsylvania look like a metropolis. There's nothing between Dallas and Lubbock. So you get up, you go down to US 380, you turn left, and you drive for about 5 hours until you fall off the face of the earth, and then you hit Lubbock, Texas. And I love Texas. I love Lubbock. I love, like, I got no problem with that. I think Lubbock is a great town. So I went to a game. I wanted to go to a game at Texas Tech, which is a really, really fun place to watch a game. It's super far from everything, but Texas Tech has a fun program out there. They had a couple of guys actually. The Phillies picked up one of the Red Raiders this year, Matt Quintanar, who I think is probably one of their best late round picks. Lee, I think, is the fun one to talk about. I think Quintanar is very good too. And I went out to Lubbock and I was wearing an orange Virginia Tech shirt. I went to Virginia Tech. It's probably a mistake wearing orange in Lubbock, but I heard behind me. This is a very funny story. I was in Lubbock and I hear behind me, "What is a Virginia Tech Hokie doing in Lubbock, Texas?" And I turned around, and this is true. There was a man dressed as a superhero, like a tech superhero with mask, cape, and everything, looking at me. I was like, I'm like speechless. But it was a really fun place to watch a game. So going out I think they're playing Kansas State. I got to see Kalen Culpepper out there playing for Kansas State. Culpepper's now tearing it up in the Twin system. I can't remember who was playing for Tech at the time. Brandon Birdsell was on the mound. I believe he's a Cubs prospect. I believe Cubs prospect at this point. But that was I always wanted to go to Lubbock, and that was Texas Tech's a great place to see a baseball game.
That's great.
Awesome. So do you have anything you want to plug while you're here, Zach? How people can find you? Or,
I mean, we literally have hundreds of viewers. So
that's probably
you're being generous.
That's probably
I was adding them all up. I was adding all social media platforms up.
It would be a nice
hundreds.
I have a website that I write on for fun. It's dugoutedgebaseball.blogspot.com. It's just a blogspot site. Dugout Edge Baseball. I write almost exclusively about the draft at this point. I'm doing reviews for every team. The Phillies will be up soon. I think the Dodgers are first. So I'll do draft reviews for every team on there. You'll find all 30 teams in depth for, probably half dozen or more players for each team at dugoutedgebaseball.blogspot.com. And if you have hundreds of viewers, I probably get 100 views per article. So it would, I would love to, it would make a big difference to me. And then I also, you can find me on Twitter, Zack Silverman. It's at Zack Silverman 18. I guess it's X now. I still say Twitter. And it never made the switch in my head, but Zack Silverman 18 on X. And I tweet about the draft. That's mostly it. Sometimes country music sneaks in there.
That's okay. Hey, everybody go follow him. It's really amazing. It was great talking to you, and I learned a lot, and just to hear this side of baseball, because I don't follow the baseball draft as closely as I do some of the other sports. I just never have. So it's great to have this insight, especially with the Phillies prospects. I appreciate it a lot.
Yep, very much.
Absolutely. And I think I'm gonna be in the Philadelphia area next week. I'm going to, my wife and I we're going up to New York, but we're gonna stop and see Washington Crossing over there. She's wanting to see where Washington crossed the Delaware. So we're gonna stop over there next week.
Very cool. Well, thanks again. And we'll get all your info and put it in the show notes so that folks can go to your website and reach out to you on, I'm going to say Twitter.
All right. Twitter, X, whatever you want.
Say Twitter.
The Bird app.
All right. Thanks, all right. Zach.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Zach.
Bye.
What a great interview. Great guy. I can't tell you how much we appreciate the time that Zach took with us today, and just gave us so much information that I'm probably going to have to watch back on this podcast and really
100%
gather my thoughts on the whole thing. But thanks again, Zach. That was awesome, and we really appreciate your time and everything that you're doing for us, and we hope to have him back in the future, and not just talk about the draft folks, but also talk about what's going on in the minor leagues in terms of their playoffs and that sort of thing would be really great.
Yeah, but it was fantastic.
Topic at hand for us, though, now that we're back, is the All-Star game. So I will start off by saying the Philadelphia Phillies in Major League Baseball did an awesome job. The presentation of it, the build up to it, all the events surrounding the All-Star game, I thought came off perfectly, and I was so excited about it. I thought it really showed off our city, really showed off the team, and everything to do with that. I thought it was a showpiece for the Phillies for sure.
Oh, it was extremely well done. I mean, it was just great publicity for the city, for the team. I mean, the fans showed up. It was great. The atmosphere from start to finish was perfect. What you should expect for an all-star game like this. But I agree. I think everything from start to finish was handled really well, and overall, I think it was a huge success, especially for Philadelphia.
Right, right. And honestly, you know, for America's 250th birthday, there's no better city to have the All-Star
None.
game. You know, right
No.
here in July, right after we hit that 250 mark, to be in Philadelphia is just perfect. And I dare to say, out of all the celebrations for the 250 that have gotten national attention, the one in Philadelphia was the best. You know, in
Oh,
between
yeah.
in between the actual 250 celebration on the 4th of July in Philadelphia and everything, then that's always great every single year, right?
Oh, yeah.
Um, but having the All-Star game right after, I just thought was a perfect way to celebrate the country's birthday. And
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't be prouder of the job that they did.
No, I mean, you're celebrating 250 with America's pastime.
Mhm.
It doesn't get more poetic than that, right? You have America's pastime. We turned 250. It's in Philadelphia. Just a great weekend all around.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we could talk about the performances and everything and how, the Phillies players didn't really do anything, in the game itself, but I think it's secondary
Yeah.
really, to the overall feel of it. Besides, nobody in the National League did all that well.
No,
Um,
no one did.
right. And but, let's nobody's talking about this, but Jesus Luzardo looked awesome. I
He
mean,
did.
he was in and out of there so
Mhm.
quickly that people forgot. He just came in, businesslike, did his job, split,
Yeah.
no fanfare, did what he was supposed to do. And, lately he's been impressing me more and more. And I think on the national stage, I think he really showed some people,
He did.
just how great he's gotten.
It was a rough start to the season, but I think he's kind of found his groove now. You can see
Mhm.
it when he's on the mound, a lot more confidence, and he's going out and attacking, which I love. So from where he started this season till now,
Mhm.
head and shoulders above where he started. I think he
Right.
looks great, and I mean, he's now one of those when he comes in, I'm not worried.
Right. Right.
Like
Yeah.
I know what I'm getting, and I like it.
Well, and the other thing about it is too, you remember earlier in the season and last season, just every once in a while he gives up 11 runs in 2
Yeah,
innings or something crazy
right.
like that. And I think his confidence is at a level that we're just not gonna see that often anymore.
No, no, I think that'll subside now.
He looks like the guy we thought we were getting.
Mhm.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, absolutely. So it's encouraging, I think, from that standpoint. When we talk about Nola and we talk about whoever's in that fifth rotation spot, it's troublesome.
Mhm.
You're going to lose. You have a good chance of losing 2 out of every 5 games.
Yeah, yeah, and
Eh,
the sad part
automatically.
is and the sad part is I feel like this is the same discussion every season.
Hmm.
There's
Hmm.
just always that back end of the lineup that just doesn't hold up as well,
Right, right,
and it's just they just can't seem to figure that out, and
right.
I'm not sure what the issue is. We always have a great closer,
Yeah.
and
Well,
middle relief is, it can be okay at times,
with
but
Brad Ledge, and then our current
well,
guy.
I mean, they usually have a closer in there that can do the job most
Yeah.
of the time. But it's that
Well,
middle relief, that fifth starter middle relief where they just always seem to struggle, always have a problem,
right,
and they just
right.
can't get a guy in there.
Got to bring Taiwan Walker back
I,
and put him in the
hey,
middle there.
from
He's the
from your
guy.
lips to God's ears.
He is the guy to save the season.
I'm still waiting for your bold prediction out in Anaheim to come true.
Yeah. Where is he right now? I haven't paid attention
I don't
lately.
know. I stopped looking just after you made that comment. I was like, I'm not following this anymore. Just I'm just not even following it.
That was the last nail in the coffin for
That was
Mr.
it,
Walker.
like,
Huh? When I
mean,
predicted
it was the most impressive take ever because it was so outlandish, and I wanted nothing more than it to come true. However, I don't think it's going to happen.
I didn't say when. I said that it would happen.
I'll have
It
to
could
go
happen
back
next.
and listen because I do think I recall
check the transcript
this year with a Cy Young.
No, I didn't say he'd win the Cy.
You said push. You said push for it.
Yeah, he would get votes for the Cy Young, and he still may.
He
I
might.
hear that there's discussion with the league to forget the minimum innings pitched rule for Cy Young contention, and just they're going to call it the Taiwan rule, where it's so awesome no matter how many innings you pitch, you get a potential for.
See, I thought they were just going to say that we were allowed to vote just so he got 2 votes.
I'm working on that still. I went to Cooperstown. I went to Cooperstown a month ago.
I know.
But there wasn't anybody there. Just the guys that work there. I really thought it was my opportunity to influence the way the league is.
I was hoping.
Yeah, it's true. So anyway, we got the big series with the Dodgers starting tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. We're sending I don't know if it's Wheeler or Sanchez.
It's Sanchez, Wheeler, and then Nola. So we'll take 2 or 3.
I would be happy with that. I will be at tomorrow night's game.
Nice.
So I expect good things.
I hope if you're in the building, I hope they perform, because if not, they know that they will end up on this show being talked about poorly. So
right, and our hundreds of followers will have a problem. We're going to start a movement here through our 500 followers or whatever we have, where we're really gonna show up and tell the Phillies what's up.
I think we should.
Yeah. So what else you got, Brian? You got anything you want to talk about from the time that you were out and when we didn't do a podcast outside of the All-Star game, of course?
No, I mean, I don't like how they came out of the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
It just it's the Mets. They're not good. We know they're not good.
But why throw out the Phillies to do a game on Thursday, which is a makeup game, I guess, against the Mets? But they cut everybody's All-Star break.
They did
short, and why?
They did. I don't know. I just, and maybe that's why they came out flat in that first game with Nola. I mean, it was one of his best games this season. I mean, it really was. I mean, he looked good. He looked a little more confident. He kept them in it as long as he could.
Right.
The bats were silent. So I wish they would have came out a little better in that first game, since he did pitch as well as he did. Maybe that would have gave him a little more confidence when he goes onto the mound the next time. Now he's got to go against the Dodgers, and all he's going to remember is that last start where he pitched well, but once again the offense let him down, and they've done that quite a bit throughout his whole career.
Well, do you think that he's able to separate that at this point?
I'm sure he can, but when you have as much struggle as he's had this season,
right?
I don't think it's as easy to start shaking games like that off.
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure at some point it's going to weigh on him a little bit. I mean, I think it would anybody.
Right.
But yes, I mean, he's a professional and it's his job, and I'm sure he can compartmentalize. However, I'm sure it kind of lingers a little bit back there. All right, are they going to support me this game? What am I getting if I go out there and start throwing well? So, and it's it's the Dodgers, so they have a very good lineup. So I don't expect him to pitch as well as he did against the Mets.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yeah, they got a couple of good guys out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strong lineup. So
I tell you, I still dream of having well, at least 2 years ago, I dreamt of having Teoscar Hernandez. A little less now, but we had an opportunity to pick him up when he's a free agent. He just re-signed with the Dodgers. I would have hoped that we have, here we are always looking for a power hitting outfielder. And he is that. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like the Mets are just taking offers for everyone now. So it
right.
doesn't seem like anyone's off the table. So between Lindor, Soto, Bichette,
Yeah.
you
Well, I think
never know.
they only said that Soto out of that group was untouchable.
Yeah, I thought I read something the other day that they'd be willing to listen to some things for him. So they got to do something, right? The amount of money on that roster is insane,
right?
To be as bad as you are. Like that's just, you won't see that in New York. You won't see that in LA. They sign these mega rosters, they perform, they win championships. The Mets went the complete opposite way.
Well, but let's talk a little bit about Juan Soto. I mean, in very short history, we've seen Soto go from Washington to San Diego to New York to the other New York team. Is he the problem?
Probably.
I mean,
they said there's a ton of friction between him and Lindor. They don't mesh. So, and Lindor, to your point, he's playing really good baseball, and then Soto shows up.
Right. And have you heard of any drama surrounding Lindor in the past?
No, probably not until he showed up.
Right.
I mean, he's a solid shortstop. He's a good ball player. And then, Soto comes in. Maybe his ego got bruised a bit, that he wasn't the guy in New York anymore for the Mets.
Right.
Maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe he's unhappy with his contract. Soto gets all this money. I don't know. It could be 10 different things. But
yeah, it's a couple of guys, and I think about, guys where trouble seems to follow them wherever they go. And the other one is Luis Ariz. The guy's money, right? He hits everywhere he goes. He wins batting championships, but every season he's on a different team.
Yeah.
And he just keeps moving around. They say that he might get moved at this trade deadline again.
And it's probably one of those, all right, let's deal with it. We'll put up with it for a year and see what he can give us. If it's the jolt we need, if not, we'll part ways.
Yeah. I got to think he's a
like.
problem. I got to think he's a problem.
At this point, you'd have to suspect that.
Because you'd put up with a ton of shit from somebody if they were that good.
Oh, yeah. Teams do it all the time.
Right. And
so there's got to be something there that we're missing. And maybe he's just a giant asshole. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
it could be.
There's something odd there that we don't know. And I don't think we'll ever know. But unless he comes to the Phillies, then we'll know.
Then he'll be the greatest guy ever.
Right. He'll be the perfect locker room guy. Everybody loves him.
A leader,
Right.
Everybody looks to him for advice all the time. Yeah. He'll be perfect then.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay. Well, do you, I don't know. Should we wrap this up? I'll edit.
Should we just wrap it up with Turner and his stupid errors?
We could wrap it up with Turner and his stupid errors. I think it's funny. He's been kicking the ball all over the place, and when people really started getting on him the other day, he comes back and has a decent game.
I know. And then he hits a home run yesterday after his error.
Yeah,
that's like, guy, can you just be consistent?
Right. No, we know you can do it.
Yeah.
It's the Philly boo thing, man. We're not booing you because you suck. We're booing you because you can be better than what you're doing.
You've proven to us that you can play really well.
Yeah. I think
consistently.
We just got to give this guy a standing ovation every other game,
I guess.
And then he's going to be fine. But that seems like a lot of maintenance. But let's go back to Lindor. Do you trade him for Lindor? Do you go within the division and do that? the fear of him being awesome with the Mets and
I don't think he'd
us
be awesome
regretting
with
it.
the Mets. I mean,
No.
I don't think he'd be great with the Mets. I wouldn't say no to Lindor, but we had talked earlier in the week, trading within the division gets messy. It's
Yeah.
uh,
There's
you
enough
know, to
bad
have
feelings
someone
about Harper coming here,
right,
even in a free agent standpoint. But
right.
I don't know. I feel like there's too many teams that are on the bubble right now,
Yeah,
especially in the American League because they're so terrible, right?
right. American League's bad.
There's many teams that could be in the playoffs. So maybe you're not looking at a lot of sellers because we already know within our division, Washington's not going to be a big seller because they're so
Mm-mm.
improved.
No.
Miami certainly is not going to be a big seller because they're doing great. They're like on our heels
Yeah.
for second place right now.
The NL East is very tough right now. It's very tough, and you can't have series like this against a team like the Mets when you have the Nationals, the Marlins nipping right at your heels, and you're still trying to catch the Braves. So now you pulled that down to, what, 2.5 games back?
Right.
Now that's starting to expand again. So there's a fine line there, and they have to take advantage of when they're playing some of these lesser opponents.
Right. Yeah. And you have to beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
Right. Yeah.
And because you got the Dodgers coming up tomorrow, you could at least beat the Mets because you might lose 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers.
Yeah. That's not out of the possibility there.
We could lose all 3.
But and my only other, not a concern yet, but I'm hoping Marsh doesn't go into a slump. We're already back under 300. We're down to 293.
Yeah.
He's going to be the one that I watch over the next few weeks to see if he can sustain what he did in the first half, or if we're going to see him just completely flatline. And
well, he seems to only play half seasons.
Yeah. And unfortunately, he came out gangbusters the first half.
Yeah, his nickname is Mr. April.
Yeah. That's our Brandon.
Yeah. No, you know how we love the guy, and I hope
fantastic.
he turns it around. And I have no reason to think that he wouldn't be. He's probably gotten in his head a little bit. The All-Star game was a big deal for him to make that team and be a starter. Huge accomplishment, right? So I just don't I don't think it's going to be a long-term thing. I think he's going to figure it out, but I think he's over for his last 20.
He was 1 for 4 today.
Oh, he did get a hit today.
He got a hit today.
Yes,
but before that, until today, he was over. So, yes, he went 1 for 4 today.
Yeah, I had to turn the game off after a little bit.
Oh, well, I don't blame you.
Yeah, no, I had to Simonize the car, so I couldn't.
More important things to do.
I couldn't take it.
And watch them lose to the Phillies or to the Mets.
It's like, honey, do you have anything you need me to do away from the TV?
Here, hold my phone too.
I'd like the opportunity to walk away.
I need this timeout for myself.
I'm just gonna, and my phone needs to charge. I'm just gonna sit it here on this charger and go away for a while.
We'll be fine.
I don't want to hear it. Well, cool. Well, thanks for joining, Brian, and thanks again to Zach. That was fabulous. There's going to be information in the show notes about Zach and how to read his analysis online. Follow him on Twitter/X. We're all trying to promote each other out here, and we look forward to any future interviews with Zach going forward.
I can't wait to have him on again. I just so knowledgeable. I think it just, even to get insight on current players, like you said, even the minor league playoffs, just having that finger on the pulse and just us being able to pull that in and get information and chat with him. It's a great asset. We
need to pick a high school for my daughter. So I want him to do a data analysis on the best high schools for baseball and education
There you
in the
go.
area. So it sounds like
I think-
Exeter may be a decent high school to go to.
I love it. Use your resources wisely.
But I don't want to go to that school. I don't know anybody there. And
Yeah, but they've won states the last 2 years, honey. You have to go.
yeah. All the kids are mean. Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. We'll find you. We'll find you a nice boyfriend on the baseball team.
Yeah. No. All right, Brian. How do you feel about the
All right,
Phillies
sir.
today?
Today I do not like them. I will say today we hate the Phillies and their stupid bullshit bullpen session games. Hate them.
Yes. Absolutely. Check you later.
Bye.
Bye.